This is Purana Talk.
We're doing a special double edition.
You wouldn't even have to know that. This is just a discrete episode. Not that discrete, but
We've been discreetly reading for some time now the Puranas. We started with the Shiva Purana and we went through that, and it was Linga Purana next, wasn't it?
we went through the Bhagavata Purana. Did we do the Linga? No, we did the Linga Purana.
Yeah. Bhagavata was the third one, and then now we're in the Garuda Purana, and we're at chapter 36 of the second kanda of that Purana.
Yeah.
We're using the Motilal Banarsidas edition, a valiant attempt on the part of the translator. Please don't be offended. We will criticize.
Oh, we criticize everything. Kvetch.
This particular one is titled
On Fast and Pilgrimage. Garuda said, "Why is the rite of fasting considered holy and the bestower of salvation? What is the goal attained by a person who had left his house and died in a holy center? What is it if he died before reaching the holy center? Like, what if you die on pilgrimage before you get there? Because everybody knows if you get there, it's a good thing. But what is it if he died in the house itself before he set foot out of the house to go on pilgrimage? What is it if he died in a cottage as a vanaprastha, a forest dweller? Or if he took to sannyasa either in the holy center or in the house? How shall the rites be performed in such cases? What is the procedure if he does not die a proper death? O Lord, what are the rules if the performer wavers and does not stand on his resolve? What are the rites which enable him to achieve realization?" The Lord said, "If anyone observes the rite of fasting and dies, he will cast off his human form and become equal in luster to me. He will have the benefit of performing as many sacrifices, complete with due fees, as the number of days he was able to live observing the rite of fasting."
So it sort of gives most people a maximum 32 or so. Occasionally you're going to get somebody that's a breatharian that can live longer, but
If such a death takes place after taking to sannyasa, whether in the holy center or elsewhere, the benefit accruing from the same is twice that of the previous one. If a person suffering from an incurable disease such as plague, etc., observes fast and dies, he has no rebirth. He rejoices in heaven like a deity.
That's an interesting clause. So where are we? What verse are we in?
That's 8.
8.
If a person suffering from an incurable disease such as plague, etc., observes fast and dies, he has no rebirth. He rejoices in heaven like a deity. If a sick man takes to sannyasa, he is released from the cycle of rebirth in this world of sorrows and afflictions. 10. Brahmins should be fed every day. Gifts of a vessel full of gingelly seeds or gifts of lamps according to his capacity should be made. Gods should also be worshipped. If gifts are made in favor of the dead, his major and minor sins are washed away. On death he attains immortality on par with sages. Hence, observing a fast enables men to attain heaven. Man should strive for salvation when his body is in perfect health. The deities, Brahma and others, bestow contentment and nourishment on the man who forsakes his son's wealth and goes to a holy center, a pilgrimage. pilgrimage place. A tirtha. If a person dies after observing the fast on reaching the holy center or on the way, he goes to the sphere of sages. If a person dies at home after observing the fast, he alone will sojourn in heaven, leaving the members of his family. If a person casts off food and water and drinks only the water from my feet, he is not reborn on the earth.
This is Vishnu speak.
Not the same water. This is just regular water. "17. The family deities protect the man who goes to a holy center and abstains from food. The emissaries of Yama guard him. No torture at the hands of Yama's attendants is in store for him. A person who makes frequent pilgrimages to holy centers can destroy sins. The person who cremates him, if he dies, enjoys the benefit of making the pilgrimage. A frequent visitor to holy centers, even if he dies outside the holy center, is reborn as an intelligent Brahmin, well-versed in the Vedas at a holy place and in a noble family. If a man observing fast autarkia survives it, he should invite Brahmins and gift away his possessions. Following the instruction of Brahmins, he should observe Chandrayana and Krichara. He should never tell a lie thereafter. He shall practice virtuous actions."
This is 21.
Yes. 22. When a person returns to his own house after making pilgrimage to the holy centers, he should take the permission of pious Brahmins and perform expiatory rites. If a person is able to make pilgrimage to holy centers at the stage of death after previously making gifts of gold, cow, land, elephant, and horses, he is the most fortunate of all. A person starting on a pilgrimage when death is imminent should make gifts of cows at every step if the act is not involved in violence.
Yeah, in other words, don't take somebody else's. So so where gift cow? What verse is
that? 23. Gold, cow, land, elephant, horses. 24 is a person starting on pilgrimage when death is imminent should make gifts of cows at every step, if the act is not involved in violence. The sin committed at home is washed off by ablutions of holy waters, while the sin committed at the holy center becomes adamantine and is never washed off at all. So don't sin at the holy centers.
What verse is that?
You can't get the stain off. 25. There is no doubt in this that he will be distressed forever by those sins as long as the sun, the moon, and the stars shine. O bird, the gifts made therein are of everlasting benefit. Even indigent persons, when sick, should make gifts. Such gifts should consist of a cow, jingeli seeds, gold, and 7 grains. On seeing a person making liberal gifts, the deities, sages, and Chitragupta are excessively delighted. So long as one is in free possession of one's wealth, one should make it over to the Brahmins. After death, the entire wealth goes to others, who will not therefore have the grace to give. By offering gifts of wealth to Brahmins, the sons, in fact, prepare for their salvation along with sons, grandsons, and great-grandsons. What is given to father will be requited or requited 100-fold, to make 1,000-fold. No, excuse me. To mother 1,000-fold, to sister 100,000-fold, and to brother many-fold. If out of covetousness a person does not give anything during sickness, that miserly sinner will indeed repent after death. Wealth is acquired with strain and stress. It is naturally unsteady. The only solution is in being gifted to others. Otherwise, there awaits only disaster. It's an interesting economic theory, isn't it?
Yeah, let's have that again. Just read
33.
that again.
Wealth is acquired with strain and stress. It is naturally unsteady. The only solution is in being gifted to others. Otherwise, there awaits only disaster. Enigmatic.
Well, I'm just trying to think about what the implications of this is. If strain and stress is basically how wealth is acquired,
A lot of effort. There's a lot of effort.
Right. And so it's naturally unsteady is the second thought, right?
Yeah.
And then the only solution to it being unsteady, I guess, is in it being gifted to others. In other words, giving your wealth away.
Then it's no longer a danger to you.
Right.
Otherwise, there awaits only disaster. It's dangerous because it's unsteady if it's in your hands.
Right.
You give it away, it's out of your hands, you've done a good deed. They lose it, it's their fault. Right?
Something like that. Something like that. And, it's sort of indicative of a potlatch culture.
Now.
So think of everybody in societies doing this, not just you. So it's saying, and when you're sick, give stuff away. And so, think about that. They're basically trying to get the stuff to go on to the next generation.
34. Just as an unchaste wife laughs at her husband who fondles the sun too much, as also death laughs at a person who makes fuss about protecting himself, and the earth laughs at a person who guards too much his wealth. Fondles was perhaps an unfortunate choice of words. It gets used a lot in translating, sort of genuine fatherly, affectionate embrace and such, and motherly.
But it's because of what its implications are in our society, we hear it differently.
So we wouldn't. I would probably not advise a modern translator to.
You could say plays with probably safely. Yes. And it still has that implication in a way, though.
That's an unchaste wife laughs at her husband who fondles the sun too much.
Plays with the sun.
Oh, I know what it means.
What?
It means an unchaste wife laughs at the husband who dotes too much on their son because she knows maybe the father is somebody else.
Oh, I see.
Sort of the implication.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. Yeah, it could be.
As also death laughs at a person who makes a fuss about protecting himself. The earth laughs at a person who guards his wealth too much. A virtuous man of liberal temperament and gentleness, even after acquiring a lot of wealth, considers it to be as useless as a blade of grass. He feels no torment, no delusion, and no fear of the emissaries of Yama at the hour of death. The after effects of death in water last for 7,000 years, those of death in fire for 11,000 years, those of death in scorching sun for 16,000 years, those of death in a battle for 60,000 years, those of death in thwarting the seizure of a cow for 80,000 years, and, O Bharata, those of death in fasting are everlasting. So it's interesting from the standpoint of, a cultural background of fasting and how fasting itself is understood, and fasting unto death even.
Right.
And it sort of tells me, I mean, this is a Gandhian thing, and
it's a Celtic thing too.
We know about fasting for health and austerity, tapas and things like that, but it's not a fast unto death.
Well,
it's certainly necessary.
Fasting on somebody's doorstep till death is a typical thing to do in Celtic countries.
Typical.
Yeah. Like you would go and sit on their doorstep, and anybody that came to their door, you'd tell them why you were there.
Mm-hmm.
And you would sit there until they recounted or until you died. People did die. They were stubborn. So, but it was a way of shaming the person into doing the right thing, basically. There's a name for it. I'll try to remember what it is. I bet they'll bring it up again.
It's been a little redundant, though. It's interesting. The last part was a strange thing. It sort of took a different turn. The after effects of death in water last for 7,000 years. Those of death in fire for 11,000 years. Though the bottom line was fasting, it returned to this idea of fasting, and it was sort of putting everything in the perspective of fasting. But I found the list itself and sort of the poetry of it interesting.
Yeah, it's quite nice, actually. I like the translator achieves something there once in a while.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of conveying the sort of rhythmic sense of these original things.
Mm-hmm.
The shloks are, often fairly precise. They might even have the same exact number of beats per line.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Have a nice whatever morning, afternoon, evening.